Well, hello there! Guess who's back with another video? I planned on posting this earlier, but life kind of got in the way. But hey, better late than never. Like I promised in the last video, this one will cover the entire corruption section and the character stories that come with it. I decided to leave out Watanabe's arcade anima and start part 3 with it because I felt like this video will be already long enough and I really wanted to get this over with. So once again, feel free to put this video on the second monitor, get your coffees and snacks, do some chores if you will, and allow me to continue yapping about the story of punishing Grave Raven. Nanami started recording her life into a digital diary when she was 9 years old, and she definitely did not do this because it's her school homework. First, she records her family. She has a dad, mom, and a dog. At the time, she was just a child doing fun stuff. And now she's freshly 18 and ponders what to record. When everyone is 18, they can match with others through the Gestalt system and find more friends. She mentions that her parents matched through the system too, and it's an amazing piece of technology. She wishes to match with someone who has black hair and wonders if they will be a boy. She will be happy with any kind of friend though. She also wonders if the system will find her a perfect match and if she will get her happily ever after. This made me think that Gestalt was not just designed for friends but romantic interests, which will make the next part way more interesting, but I don't think Kuro went for that. In another recording, she mentioned that it has been a while and everybody stopped going to class and even her parents are staying at home. It's all because of the virus. She says that infected people die very quickly and the infected electronics all begin attacking humans. She also shares that the system matched her with a girl and they talk a lot through the projection chatting. Her name is Jane and they clicked instantly. She doesn't have black hair, but she has blue eyes just like Nanami's mom. The Gestalt matching function is going to be shut down soon because of the virus, and Nanami is looking forward to seeing Jane at IRL. In another recording, she wonders why the virus is called the Punishing and why is it punishing humans. She also questions herself if it's because of her and mentions that the virus is quickly spreading. Her parents also became strange. The dog is constantly angry and the parents are arguing. She wants to protect everyone and also confesses that her parents have been glaring at her lately and she has constant headaches. Her mom suddenly disappeared and she wants to go find her. She fights off the corrupted but gets hurt and finds out that there are machines in her arm. She herself is a machine. She finds Jane but the girl runs away upon witnessing her. Actually, everyone starts running. She begs them not to, saying she wants to protect everyone. Luckily, she finds her mom and she's with Jane, and they're both okay. She also finds herself among the corrupted as more people run away with police approaching. They aim their guns at Nanami. Nanami's mom tells them not to shoot because Nanami is on their side. They argue about her being a mechanoid and there will be a big trouble if she gets infected. As she's fighting the corrupted, she asks her parents why is she a machine. Her father, who is also present, apologizes, saying they lied to her. She was a subject in a machine consciousness experiment. They treasured and nurtured her like a human so she can grow up into one. They kept changing her bodies as she grew and told her that they are not a fake family and they treasured all the time together. The guards are preparing to shoot and Nanami tells her parents to get Jane and run for it. Her mom begs the guards and they let her fight, but she can't come near and if she becomes corrupted, they will dispose of her. She agrees, says her goodbyes and runs into the corrupted, fighting them off. In Karenina's origin story, she's still a kid, and she's being kicked out of a sandpit. She's bullied, and they're all poor. Karenina tells the other kids that she wants to play in the sandpit too, and tries to argue about something her grandpa said. The kids bully her even more about her grandfather because he got chased out at the time, and she's also adopted. Karenina defends him as he takes a good care of her, and when she tries to threaten them, she gets beaten up. After that, she returns to her grandpa, saying that the city has been throwing a lot of weird trash away. So she collected it and traded it for rye bread. They won't have to starve for the next few days. Even though his stomach is growling, the grandpa tells her that he's not hungry and she can have all the food. He also lies, telling Karenina that the sound must have been the rats. He also tells her to move a thing outside. It is supposed to be her secret birthday present. When Karenina moves the gift, Grandpa compliments her strength. She explains that she used to be the strongest on the streets, but she stopped fighting after she met Grandpa. Now she doesn't even fight back. He lectures her to remember that no matter the situation, life is invaluable. He tries to get this thing running, and Karenina notes that he has been fucking around with these kinds of explosives recently, and she's worried about him. She understands the jargon he yaps about because he has told her many times, and it is also insinuated that he forgets a lot, which means he probably has dementia or something. Apparently, Karen always liked explosions since she was a kid, so he wanted to give her something that won't stop going boom. He presses the button and tells her to run. She scolds him and he just laughs. In the next scene, Karenina is hunting for stuff but couldn't find much. It is said that during the scouting, she found a beta version of the Inver device. It has an ID on it, and she wonders why there's a grandpa's picture on it. When she's ready to head back, she encounters the bullies who are also hunting. She sees them beating up Grandpa as he hid Karenina's bread, which they wanted to steal. Of course, she beats them up. The corrupted appear, and Grandpa can't move, so he tells her to run away and never lose herself. The other kids are also in danger. She comes to their rescue and tells them to scram, as she's ready to distract the monsters. She tells Grandpa that she will keep the promise, but she's not leaving him here. After all, Karenina is the queen of the streets. After a while, a rescue team with researchers arrives in search of the Grandpa who used to be a professor. His trainee is also there. Apparently, he disappeared due to overwhelming stress. They find Karenina clinging to her life and bring her back to the lab, planning to use the professor's technology to save her. Bianca used to be a nun in a snowplane church led by Father Snow. As the food ran scarce, they would always share with others, never eating much themselves. One time, after a meal, they meet and indirectly call each other out for not eating enough. Father's excuse is that he already eaten, and she lectures him about how God taught them fasting. He is her parental role, so he tells her to eat anyway. They also discuss that more people are starting to gather around the snowplane church as they seek shelter no matter their beliefs. They are willing to help, and they also send someone to get food, but it has been 3 days and they can only pray that the person comes back. Bianca prays to God to save her church, as a commotion can be heard around her. They found the bag of a person who was sent to get food, and it's stained with blood. People start arguing and some question their faith. The mechanical monsters are swarming outside, and a blizzard is approaching. Bianca tells God that she may be a sinner, but she's willing to give up her life for the safety of others. The food the person brought is not enough for everyone, and the man died protecting it. This makes Bianca snap and confess that she hates her enemies even though she was taught to love them. She's a sinner who cannot forgive. Father Snow confesses that they are all guilty, including him, and he also tells Bianca to follow her heart. Bianca's heart tells her to take everyone away. He agrees with the plan but wishes to stay behind as he doesn't need saving. We are told that Bianca has always been gentle, strong, and brave, and we stand our queen. He instructs her to go south of the snow plain before the blizzard starts again, and that an army should be stationed there. He also tells her that he needs to stay all by himself to guard the church, and it is his choice and faith. He will pray for everyone while Bianca can lead the people to safety, and so she takes everyone away, telling them that she will take them to a place where God can see them. She doesn't want to sit and wait, and she vows to protect everyone until the end. On their way they encounter the army, just as the corrupted appear. Bianca asks the leader of the army, Bruce, to lend her his weapon. He wants her to stay behind in a safer distance, but she asks for it again. He folds, gives it to her, and she begs God for forgiveness for the sins she's about to commit. She becomes the judgment for the corrupted as she fucking headshots every single one of them. Bruce tells her that he will take care of the rest of the corrupted and that she should escort others to safety. He also tells her about Watanabe and that from now on he's in charge of the Team Oasis. She tells him that she won't deliver these kinds of messages, and if he wants to say something, he should come back and tell him himself. She's a tough one. She leads everyone to safety, finds Watanabe, and tells him everything that happened. He takes her and the rest of the team to rescue Bruce. They encounter a special corrupted with tattered clothing that could be recognized as a clerical uniform. On his neck, a bloodied, very familiar cross. It is Father Snow, and suddenly his behavior makes sense. He doesn't want to attack anyone, and a human arm is hanging on him, its hand holding a knife. It's from Bruce. Bianca will atone for her sins, but before that, she needs to commit one more, and she kills Father Snow. Watanabe used to be a soldier. His story takes us back to the training grounds, where he is being lectured along with his friend Bruce. The instructor notes that they are already used to the training, and Watanabe asks him what's the point since they can leave the battling to the machines on auto mode. He's still a rookie, and the instructor punches him for that stupid question and also tells him to just follow orders. In the next scene, Bruce is patching up injured Watanabe, while the man complains that he should be gentle. Bruce retorts that Watanabe should be grateful that he even knows how to patch him up the old-fashioned way, since they are not allowed to use the medical capsule. But Watanabe just complains more, this time about the old-fashioned instructor and about the barbaric training conditions. The instructor also always says that when in a pinch, it's not machines or God who will save you, it's yourself. Bruce tells him to just stop complaining. The training is almost over, and Watanabe asks his dear friend which team he's planning to join. He also questions whether he's still planning to die on the front lines. Bruce explains that he won't die and he plans on joining the ground forces so no one has to die, and then asks his friend about his decision. Watanabe wants to be a mercenary and make a big buck by protecting the rich, saying that money and survival is what humans live for. There's also subtext about Watanabe not wanting to see blood on the battlefield. There's a time skip to a meeting room. Watanabe asks Bruce how does it feel to have his wish fulfilled, since he will be temporarily joining the ground forces. They talk about the mass outbreak of the virus, and Bruce is worried that the front lines probably don't look too good, since they are recruiting trainees like them. Watanabe is curious whether he still wishes to fight and tells him that he doesn't need to be in the front lines to die if the virus reaches the area. They get a call from the HQ and they are told that the virus has arrived and they need to position the troops immediately. The HQ also wants them to hold the line and send a rescue team for the civilians. Watanabe is livid because it means that the HQ wants them to die, since this kind of mission is impossible. They're also informed about the instructor's death, and from that day, Bruce is in charge of the Team Oasis. Watanabe ponders how it is possible that the instructor died, and Bruce has to remind him that war is merciless. No one can guarantee their own survival in war. And once again, Watanabe starts tweaking because they have no chance against the mechas. So Bruce has to remind him that someone's gotta do the work. They split, and while Watanabe will stay and hold the line, Bruce will go on the rescue mission. Watanabe swears that he won't let Bruce take all the glory alone. They both fight off the corrupted on the battlefield, along with other troops. Watanabe even saves a troop and recalls the save yourself line, but as he witnesses the blood he stops fighting, and Bruce has to snap him out of it. Everyone from the recon team the HQ sent is dead. Bruce asks Watanabe if he's okay. No, the fuck he's not. So his friend tells him to let the dead be the power that helps him carry on. They go back and split for the mission. Watanabe asks Bruce where he's leading the rescue team. The map is leading them to the snowfields in the north, where people might be in a church. Watanabe warns him that it's a suicide mission, but Bruce wants to go anyways, as long as he can save someone. Watanabe tried to stop him, but the man just gives him an order to stay and hold the line. Reassuring Watanabe that he will be okay, he also tells him that he'll be back in an hour and he must ensure the safety of all people. It turns out that Bruce was right and there really were people trapped in a church, and he managed to save them all. When Watanabe asks where is Bruce, a nun approaches him and notes that he's the person Bruce mentioned. She tells him that Bruce instructed her to take the people away while he fights off the corrupted. He might still be fighting, so Watanabe wants to go and save him. The nun wants to go with him, so he takes her and they talk about how Bruce is amazing. The nun confesses that she was abandoned as a child, so the priest took her in and raised her. They are attacked, and while Watanabe is dealing with the enemies, a strange-looking corrupted approaches the nun. I got a special dialogue when he says he has a son. The nun also recognizes him as the father of the church. I also got the hidden part of the story which I didn't know about before. It's a flashback from when Watanabe and Bruce got a prize for coming in the first place in the squad rankings. It's a combat knife and it's from the instructor. They both came on the top, but there's only one prize. So Watanabe leaves it to Bruce since he doesn't need it. Bruce thanks him and tells him to take care of the knife if something happens to him one day. That day comes as Watanabe finds the corpse of his dear friend. Bruce holds the knife tightly, dead, and it was almost impossible to get it out. Watanabe stands silently over the corpse. Then he crouches down, extracts the knife, and adds it to his gear. Oasis is now under his leadership. Returning back to the nun, as she recognizes the priest, it is now revealed that he's a mechanoid, and he also doesn't want to attack her. The father has a human arm hooked onto the metal of his clothes, in the hand a combat knife. And it's Bruce's knife. So probably the flashback with the corpse comes after this, even though it was in the chapter before that. So it is insinuated that Bruce might be the son of the priest. The nun apologizes for sinning, which she shall atone for, but has to sin once more, as she needs to bring down judgment. She apologizes for Bruce's death and kills the priest. Watanabe reassures her and tells her the same thing Bruce has told him, to let the dead be the power that lets her carry on. He also tells her that there are still people who need her guidance and he still needs to finish the mission. In Kamui's origin story, he's already a construct in Babylonia. They are preparing on a mission and he seeks out Lucia as he's impressed with her skills. When he compliments her, she just shrugs it off, so he goes to Watanabe. He educates him on fighting better, but Kamui just calls him old. He tells them both that they are boring and then leaves to find his friend Koya. Kamui seems extremely excited and Koya asks him if he will keep his mind stable. But Kamui is confident and he tells him that he knows what to do since they trained so much. Koya confesses that he hasn't been to a battlefield yet and he doesn't know if he will be able to adapt. Kamui reassures him they were created to defend Earth, they know how to fight. Koya asks him about the two strong constructs he just talked to. Kamui explains he wants to keep up with their skills and Koya hopes that he will be assigned to the same team as them so he can also learn. Kamui thinks Koya is strong and he offers to spar with him, but they have a friendly little chit-chat instead and after that they assemble. We are told that this operation is important and comes with risks. The teams must work closely together and strictly follow mission orders. Kamui is disappointed that he is in a different team than Koya, but he did score teaming up with Lucia. They talk about how Lucia is so distant and some kind of an obsession is fueling her fighting. As the teams split to do their own missions, Kamui promises to liberate the Earth. He keeps fighting more and more enemies as they appear. When he says they can't go on, Lucia tells him to continue. She's injured and bleeding, and when Kamui asks her if she's okay, she tells him that her Inver device is still intact, so she can fight. Only now the boy understands her high affinity for combat, as she basically throws her life into it. She says that it cannot be called a life. They are not humans. They are constructs. Koya calls Kamui as his team is desperate for support. So the boy comes running and kills one corrupted right before it kills Koya. Koya warns him that half of the constructs had their Inver device destroyed and ended up as food for some corrupted. Kamui promises that he will bring him back home. But Koya is dying and he tells his friend to just leave him there, but of course, our Kamui doesn't want to. Koya reassures him that as long as the Inver device is not damaged, he will be fine. He can just fix his frame and restart. But if he will restart himself, he will forget everything he experienced with Kamui. So they argue about it a little and Kamui insists. Just when he was calling for reinforcements, Koya warns him about the enemy behind him. He gets his Inver device destroyed and Kamui couldn't do anything to save him. They try to escape, but Koya is dragged away by a corrupted and a strange black mist. Kamui has a very much understandable crash out and something within him tells him to shut the fuck up. And then it takes over his body and starts killing everything. In the chapter Forgotten Sand, we start where we left off with Kamui getting separated. Lucia wakes him up as the floor is about to collapse. Roland is gone and she explains that he vanished before they found him and asks what did he do to him since they are detecting high punishing virus activity. Kamui doesn't know but doesn't feel anything strange. The two discuss it some more while they retreat. They have some trouble leaving, but Kamui thinks of a plan. He mentions that his team, called Strike Hawk, are professional scouts and always plant monitoring devices on their missions, so they retrieve the devices. We are also told through dialogue that Lucia used not to care about others much in the past. Liv uses the data but finds that there are no good routes to take back the safety. Kamui has some EMP grenades which they argue about, and Lucia makes a comment at how unprepared they are. Kamui then plants the bombs at strategic places, and the bombs alert an uncorrupted mechanoid downstairs, so the plan is to use the window of opportunity after it starts fighting with the monsters. They notice that the mechanoid might be too strong, so they rather not leave it get corrupted. Kamui takes his memory shell and they retreat. They cannot go back to the city 015 as the tunnel was destroyed by the Ascendants. Liv says that a transport aircraft should pick them up, but there is no other signal other than the corrupted. They find the crash site of the transport and speculate whether it was Roland, so they take the pilot's duck tag and move on. Noticing a punishing virus reaction from beneath the sand, the thing grabs Kamui. Then they get contacted by Salika, and she's relieved that they are fine. She wants to send them another aircraft, but they have to keep moving because there are just too many corrupted. They encounter an old military base with a foreign organization named Forsaken. Lee is aware of their existence, as he heard about them when he was with Kuruno. The ground starts shaking and a giant sandworm emerges. It's called Vasago and they fight it, but it goes underground. It is sensitive to movement, heat, smell, and shortwave communication signals as it has sensors installed all over its body. They think about setting a lure and Lee wants to turn Kamui into a bait. Lucia scolds him for it and he says he was joking when he clearly wasn't. They hide and Lee complains about his jacket being ruined while Liv is fighting the tough battles. Lee and Kamui banter again until Liv gets an unusual signal. It is not a corrupted, but it seems mildly threatening. Liv does a quick scan and finds out that the enemy is using military-grade tech and camo and also apparently is a Babylonia deserter. It's Watanabe and he recognizes Lucia, but Lucia doesn't remember him. Kamui does though. Watanabe mentions being happy that he cut ties with Babylonia, and he also seems a bit arrogant. He clearly has a grudge against Babylonia for what they did to him and other soldiers. Back at the time during the big evacuation, the world government abandoned some ground forces. These troops cut their connections with Babylonia and only recently resurfaced again as the Forsaken. Obviously, Watanabe joined them. He also compliments Liv for her knowledge and notes that she must be Babylonia's most advanced support construct. Lucia warns Watanabe to stay away from Liv, and when Watanabe asks Lucia about the commandant, Lee raises his gun and points it at Watanabe's head. Since Lucia was helpful to Watanabe in the past, he wants to help them so he won't stay in debt. He hands Commandant a white box with a desert wild mint. The Forsaken chew on it as it beats the heat of the desert. The sandstorm is weakening, but it's going to return in 30 minutes. Lucia and Watanabe talk about how the Forsaken deal with the weather, as Watanabe sees them off and says that the next time they meet they will be enemies. Lucia asks him for a safe location so they can make a retreat. Unfortunately, there are no safe spots nearby, but the Forsaken have a temporary surveying spot nearby. It will be risky to go there since the Forsaken hate Babylonians, but Lee chimes in about how Watanabe is in their hands, Commandant needs supplies, and they have no other options. If they manage to contact Babylonia, they can send firepower support to balance the threat. Kamui calls Lee out for being cruel. They arrive to the point, but it's full of corrupted. Kamui rushes in and Watanabe notes that he's still as reckless as ever. Before Liv contacts Babylonia, there's an explosion nearby as more corrupted appear, so Watanabe takes everyone away. The Forsaken soldiers appear and now it becomes apparent that he's their leader. They get the transport and escape. After they're in the cars, Liv is not with them and Lucia almost loses it when she finds out that she's with the Forsaken. While in the other car, Watanabe is surprised that Liv is not making a ruckus. She's waiting for Watanabe's apology for kidnapping her. She also threatens him and tells him that if they needed help, they should have just asked. Watanabe says that they do not wish to harm her but also don't care about her safety. Everything that happened was a part of his plan. If Liv decides to aid them, he will consider apologizing to her and her companions. The Grey Raven track down Liv, but Visago is on their asses. They defeat it, and Lee deduces that this must have been also a part of Watanabe's plan, since he gave a mint to the commandant and Visago is sensitive to smell. Kamui is heartbroken about what happened and the team prepares for the worst, which is war. In the hidden part of the chapter, we find out what happened to Zack. He was a friend of Emma, Copperfield's daughter. They left for Babylonia and Zack stayed, along with Leon, to protect the estate. In the chapter Shattered Illusion, the Grey Raven are trying to search for a route into the Forsaken Zone, but without Liv their info is limited, so they have to wait for Kamui. Lucia reminisces about her time with Liv in the shop. They talk about her some more and how amazing she is. Kamui returns with the info, with infiltration seeming like the best option. There is an oasis inside the building. Lucia senses that something doesn't feel right about that place. It is uncanny, like the mind space. Basically, something might be fucking with their senses. And it's affecting the commandant too, so Lee speculates if it's a special EM projection device. So instead of deceiving the sensory organs, it's putting a veil over the real world. So they find and shut down the projector. Thanks to a souvenir Moray gave him, Lee finds other projectors, and after that, they talk family and Lucia dodges the question. They find out that turning off the projectors might be too difficult, and Lucia asks if they can't use the EMP grenades. Since they have one grenade left, they have to place it strategically. They are successful and find Kamui just sitting there. Unfortunately, the projectors begin restarting, so they have to find the controller. Kamui rushes off once again, and Lee's surprised that he has survived for this long. It either must be luck, or he's hiding something. After the boys argue again, Lee finds out that the projectors were used in a museum, but after the virus outbreak they were used in a research for MIND development. Basically, the projectors can take the MIND consciousnesses and upload them in some sort of a container, and right now, at least 10 consciousnesses are in there. The walls open and the team receives a friendly signal. It's Nanami, and she was just taking a walk. She wants to see the consciousnesses and Lee starts questioning her, but gets no answers as Nanami just communicates differently. Lucia asks her whether she saw Liv, and she did, so she points them in her direction, after they become her friends of course. They encounter another projection and pass through it. Lee finds the projector, shoots it, and as everything is revealed, they find Watanabe and unconscious Liv. Through her Inver device, she is connected to the consciousness container. Watanabe explains that she connected herself to the container and rescued his people, but she herself didn't manage to escape, even with the Forsaken helping her. Lucia asks if they forced her to do so, and Lee and Kamui are prepared to take everyone hostage. Only Grey Ravens can save Liv now, so the Commandant activates the mind beacon and connects the team to Liv. Her mind is already showing signs of the punishing virus. They find her in the mind space, but something doesn't seem right. Lee explains that she's with the embodiments of punishing virus, and although not corrupted, she might have lost the battle against them and became imprisoned within the container. So they have to defeat the pseudo-consciousness. They do so and manage to save her, and we get a tearful reunion where Lucia hugs Liv. Liv holds Watanabe accountable and he apologizes. He also promises that the Forsaken will assist Grey Raven whenever they will be operating in the area, on the condition that this applies only to Grey Raven and they won't threaten them. Lucia was about to ask Watanabe about something, probably whenever he wants to return. The answer is no, but the Forsaken are open to discussions. He also offers them a safe place so they can return to Babylonia. In the hidden part of the chapter, we see what happened from Watanabe and Liv's perspective, and there's nothing much I can tell you. Aloy Contamination starts with the Grey Raven communicating with Salika. President Hassan let the team stay at Forsaken's camp for the night. Liv asks Salika if the Purifying Force is still after Watanabe, and we don't get a clear answer. The team gets a mission to go toward City 019 to investigate the area. Kamui notices that they are followed by Watanabe. The man explains that the city nearby is a source of corruption and has been endangering the area. He has to be present because the Forsaken are in danger. In the next scene, Kamui can be seen communicating with a mysterious consciousness in his head. They share a mind and nobody knows about it. The mysterious figure brags about how he's slain tenfolds of Kamui's virus embodiments. Basically, he's the one keeping him alive, and if it weren't for him, Kamui would have already been corrupted. But Kamui still swears to get him out of his head one day. The mysterious figure claims that it is impossible and then implies that they might be the same person. They also talk about something Chrome mentioned, so Chrome probably knows what's happening. The Shadow wants Kamui to just hand over the body, and of course Kamui refuses. The team arrives to a machine factory. We are told that these factories used to make serums against the virus, but the virus began corrupting these factories, making them breeding pools. Watanabe tells the others that the virus might be their shared enemy, but the Forsaken, along with some others, were the only humans who did not stand back and those who truly share a fate with this earth. Liv receives a friendly signal. It is Nanami, and she's here on a purification mission and targets the Forsaken. Actually, she's not. She's just here to troll Watanabe. They banter and Watanabe has some score to settle, but before he can do anything, she's gone once again. After the team defeats a big corrupted, they discuss just how much effort is the virus putting into destroying humanity and if it's sentient or not. Lucia calls out to Nanami as she knows the girl is secretly following them and helping them and never really left. Nanami is curious about the Commandant and Lee tells her that they are the incarnation of the unfathomable. Nanami didn't understand shit what he said and spins his words into Nanami helps Grey Raven and Grey Raven let Nanami best her Commandant. She also helps them escape as another wave of corrupted comes. Suddenly the viral density shoots up and Kamui shows signs of high discomfort. Lucia tells Liv to keep an eye on the corruption level of everyone present, and Liv notices that the waveform of Kamui's MIND is strange. The mysterious figure compliments Liv for finding him. She doesn't see him though. Kamui doesn't want the Shadow to be found, but the Shadow is slowly gaining more power through the punishing virus. Kamui doesn't give a shit though, but as they progress through the factory, he starts feeling worse and worse. The Shadow threatens to take over, but Kamui proposes a different solution. He apologizes to others, shuts off his communication system and runs off. They immediately assume that he deserted, and Watanabe says that he will probably catch her attention. They reach the assembly department of the factory and decide they can't leave Kamui on his own. Watanabe offers his bombs so they can blow up the reactor. Nanami and Watanabe also banter as she's scaring him for the shit she has done. Watanabe then runs off to set up the explosives, and Commandant orders Nanami to help him. After they return, an unforeseen angel-like corrupted appears. She also recognizes Lucia. They defeat her and Liv quickly downloads her memory. After that they start running since the bombs are being detonated. As they made their way out, Watanabe and Nanami took a different route. They speculate why they did so, and Lee points to the sky. There flies a friendly transporter even though they didn't call for a backup. And since they're coming uninvited, they must be from the Purifying Force. Back to Kamui and the Shadow, Kamui says something about finding Tenebrian, which could help him cleanse the virus inside him. The Shadow warns him that if they find him in his current state, they will be recycled. The Grey Raven locate Kamui, but before they can reach him, Vera appears. She's here for corrupted Kamui, but Lucia won't let her off scot-free as she needs to ask some questions. And so she turns to Kamui. When was he first corrupted? Why didn't he tell them? And why is he running? He answers that it was because of Roland, it was useless telling them, and he decided to remove the virus inside him. Lucia calls him out since apparently there is no such method. He can't explain as he's not sure himself and mentions that it is nothing more than a gamble. Vera gives Lucia the opportunity to execute Kamui, but she hears a voice inside her head. It is the unknown white-haired construct. She refuses to kill Kamui as she believes in him. And before Vera steps up, Lee stops her and calls rain check. This disappoints Vera, but she lets them be and leaves. Two outlines step up out of the shadows, talking about Kamui. It is Karenina and Bianca. While Karenina is here to destroy the factory, Bianca is here to take care of Kamui. Lucia makes an opening for him so he can escape. Before things escalate, they all get a call from Chrome, the leader of Strikehawk. Bianca asks if he wants to plead for his mercy, and so they discuss the secret thing that could help Kamui. In the hidden part of the chapter, it is revealed that the Angel Corrupted was the sister from Lucia's backstory. She got the kids into the city, and it was later revealed that she might have been a mechanoid all along. Later down the line, she got infected by the virus, but used its power against the other Corrupted. She questioned herself and her beliefs until she found an end under Lucia's blade. The story continues in Inver Collapse. Bianca says that they need an evaluation of the current status, and that's not something she can decide. Chrome begs for more time, and he offers to do the talking. Lucia reminds Chrome that right now Kamui needs him the most. He understands, but also has more important things to handle. When Karenina reminds Bianca that their mission is to get rid of any corrupted and defected constructs, Chrome retorts that Kamui did not betray them. Bianca wants to give Chrome time until they actually find Kamui, so she gets shouted at by Karenina, who wants to follow the orders. Unfortunately for Karenina, Bianca is also a leader of a team, so she understands Chrome. She also knows where Kamui is, and when Lucia asks her if they know where each construct is at all times, we are told that the purifying force is seen as hyenas who hunt their own, but they never touch constructs who do not pose any threats. They also get the access to this kind of data only rarely. When Bianca wants to leave, Commandant chimes in that the Grey Ravens will go with her. He is our friend and ally, and we are not leaving him in a pinch. Chrome wants to cooperate with Grey Raven too, and so they go and pursue Kamui. They find a building that is usually raided by scavengers, but only find corrupted. Someone else is after the building since some good technology is discarded inside. Clearly, Kamui is not the only person who has been seeking this special treasure. Bianca notices that the whole place might be ruins of a civilization. If they encounter any corrupted here, Bianca and Lucia will be the ones dealing with them. Also, Karenina gets offended. The corrupted try to bury them alive, so they have to return to the entrance. After that, the entrance collapses, so they have to consider a different path. Kamui has apparently stopped moving, and they speculate whether he has found his target. Liv finds them a new route while they sit in awkward silence for a minute. After that, Kamui's coordinates start moving again, so they press on. They find Nanami, and Lee is bewildered that she has come out unscathed from the explosion. Bianca asks if she's the construct they found in the factory, and then comments that she's as weird as the rumors said. Nanami is here because she just wandered around after the factory blew off, and she offers them some help. They ignore her though, especially Bianca, as they press on and they notice there are fewer corrupted. We are told that Nanami has disrupted the Purifying Force missions multiple times before. She also befriended a survey-type robot called Rohachi. He was looking for some murals, and he did see Kamui pass by. Once again, the Grey Raven are spooked over an awakened machine, just like they were with the painter robot. When they want to connect Liv to Rohachi, he doesn't like it and Nanami is on his side. Rohachi also name-drops Sage Machina. They notice that Karenina is gone. They follow the mess that she has caused on her way and deduce she's after Kamui. Nanami stays behind so she can divert the corrupted and help her friend. Bianca speeds up as she doesn't want to let Karenina fight Kamui alone. We find out that Karenina stormed off to spare Bianca of consequences, and she also got her ass beaten by Kamui, who's already looking corrupted. Bianca finds her as the team catches up, and they beat her ass a second time. When Liv tries to check on Karenina, she notices that a form of energy is trying to invade her mind. If it goes any longer, she will overheat and her mind will probably explode or something. Liv cannot say what the energy is, but they need to help her ASAP. They basically have to make her sleep, but the thing won't let it happen, so they go for the risky plan of connecting Lucia with Karenina through Liv. So Lucia makes Karenina go Amimir. The corrupted start surrounding them, and they have to make a quick escape. Since the enemy is moving in coordination, they suspect that someone must be behind them. Waiting for fire support, they fight their way out. Something suspicious is happening as the enemy knew about their location, and they were right about someone being behind this as Roland shows up. He was following Kamui, but is pleasantly surprised that he caught them all. Just when Roland threatens them that this is the time they won't walk away, Watanabe shows up. He too has unfinished business with the Ascendants. When Bianca questions him if he isn't scared that she will catch him, his answer is that it's still better than losing his chance to repay his debt. So they work it out on the remix for this one. Roland is surprised how well they are doing, and Watanabe crashes into a wall, and the rest go fuck up Roland. They low-key beat him up, so he has to throw sands into their eyes to escape. Obviously he went after Kamui, so they gotta go too. The hidden part of the chapter deals with Rohachi. He was sent into the ruins to find treasure. Once again, Leon haunts the narrative like a dead wife. Roseblade, now corrupted, was here for Tenebrian. Everyone is here for Tenebrian, the treasure is Tenebrian. Rohachi also befriends Nanami in this one. And we are given information that the robots are awakening because of the things related to Sage Machina. The chapter Consumed by Darkness starts off with Nicola calling the Commandant and asking if they are aware of the risks of their actions. He then orders Grey Raven to retreat. The Commandant politely tells him to fuck off. Nicola calls Commandant naughty and tries to establish dominance. We don't give a shit though, Kamui is in danger. Gigachad Hassan inserts himself into the conversation and talks some sense into Nicola. We cannot afford to lose Kamui as he has shown a possibility to fight against the punishing virus. Nicola tries to argue back, but Hassan knows what to say. We know how to handle special cases like these. Also, Hassan calls Nicola a mom, and I have a split-second old man Yaoi thought about how actually they are the mom and the dad of Babylonia. Of course, the mom is strict and the dad is cool. And so, Hassan makes sure they send us supplies, shuts Nicola up and sends us on our merry way. The airdrop of the supplies will probably alert some corrupted, so the Grey Raven will have to deal with them. Also, Watanabe and Karenina will be taken care of by the Forsaken. There is a large amount of serum and a new frame for Lucia inside the supply crate. She changes, we have a silly interaction between the Commandant and the members of the team, and then we get to work. The corrupted ahead were most likely left by Roland as a gift, but we try to avoid confrontation as much as possible. The scene moves to Kamui and his shadow, who mocks him about not being able to withstand the power of both the corruption and the Tenebrian. The shadow reminds him that without his help, he wouldn't be here anymore. But Kamui is not giving up, and they also bicker. The team encounters many enemies that we have already seen before, as the game was new at the time and they reused assets. They deal with all of them, move on, rinse and repeat every single time. Also, Roseblade thinks he's Gandalf. Vera contacts Bianca and asks about Kamui. She's sent by Nicola as a support for the purification team, so you know they have some other plans. Bianca has to answer, but we can't have Vera or Roland getting to Kamui sooner than us now, can we? When the team meets the Tifa model, Lee starts tweaking. I thought it was from PTSD, but then he starts chasing after the Iron Maiden, so the team has to split up. While Lucia will get Lee, Bianca will go after Kamui, and we will catch up with her later. We find out that Tifa has left something within Lee. If the Grey Raven weren't constantly on missions, he would have already removed it, but he also kept it to study her. He makes a guess that this is not Tifa. Right on the money, Lee. When the team catches up with him, Liv notices that he's aiming at them. Something is wrong and he's not responding to Commandant's connection. Lucia has to hold him down, while Liv is trying to find out what's wrong. Lee has been injected with something and the energy source comes from the Iron Maiden. She reveals this was all meant to stall them, so they fuck her up. She also drops the word princess and I get confused. Lee is okay now, so they can move on. They arrive to see Bianca and the other members of the Purifying Force fighting a large amount of corrupted. There is no way they can see if Kamui is even alive at this point. His signal has stopped ahead, and he is now inside an enclosed energy chamber. Bianca deduces that the chamber must have been what he has been looking for. She also notes that if the same energy caused Karenina's abnormality, Kamui's stability must be put into question. Vera plays the antagonist and argues with Lucia about Kamui being a threat. She also makes a comment about mentioning Bianca in her report for Nicola. The team stops the Purifying Force and Vera leaves as she's still keeping her promise. Liv is told to do an analysis of the chamber, but it starts changing colors, turning from red to purple. They have to wait and trust Kamui. The shadow, now called Kamu, tells Kamui that his companions are waiting for him outside. Kamui apparently succeeded in his plan, but he did need Kamu's help. His shadow reminds him that they have always been one entity, and then yaps about being the better one. So they fight inside the chamber. Kamui defeats Kamui, the power of Tenebrion, under his control. He just wants the body, as he thinks he's the one doing all the job against the virus, but Kamui argues back that it was his will that pushed him through all, from the very beginning up until now. Kamui is ready to take the body, and then the chamber opens. Kamui is in critical condition as his mind is absorbing all the energy inside the chamber. Bianca wants to step in, but the commandant stops her. They might save him just like they did Karenina if they use the same method. Bianca doesn't want them to do it as the risk is greater than in Karenina's case. But it's worth the shot. This is Kamui, our companion. Even Lee backs him the fuck up in this case. They beg Bianca until she lets them and decides to stay on guard duty. The team immediately jumps into Kamui's mind. Kamui is bewildered that they would go so far for Kamui. This is the power of fucking friendship. Kamui finally acknowledges Kamui's help too and admits that he is indeed weaker than him. But they have a problem. One body cannot have two consciousnesses within it. Kamui reassures him that neither of them have to disappear. They are both Kamui. And so they make up, making the possibility of fucking two bad bitches at the same time very doable. They all come back from Kamui's mind successful, and just as they were ready to leave before they can give Ascendance a chance, Liv gets an emergency call. Babylonia is under attack. In the hidden chapter, Kamui writes a report about everything that happened, his journey to find Tenebrion, how he fought Karenina, how Roland tried to make him an Ascendant, and how he actually found Tenebrion and made up with his alter ego. And no, I still do not know what Tenebrion is! So that will be all for this video, folks. In the next one, things will finally get interesting, as we probably all know that the story gets really good from chapter 9 or so. Since we will be adding EX and ER chapters into the mix, I will be splitting them into multiple parts, so each video is about 40 minutes to 1 hour long. In the next part, you can look forward to Watanabe's and Alpha's Arcade Anima and the beginning of the Vortex arc. I will not tell you when you can expect this video since that's up in the air and it will depend on how much time and energy I will have. Also, I was thinking about yapping about something else for a change, as I don't want to dedicate this channel only to PGR. With that said, I hope you have an amazing day and thank you for watching.